Good morning, Flosstube. It is Thursday, the 23rd of June 2022, and you have joined me, Sarah, on Sew Me Sarah, my channel all about cross stitch and sometimes a few other needle arts if I haven't been totally obsessed by the cross stitch. It's all cross stitch today, but you're very welcome to join me. If you're new here, I want to thank you for giving my channel a little chance, and I hope that you enjoy what you see here. I hope that you will engage with me in the comments, and I hope that you'll come back again. If you would like to see more, please remember to hit the subscribe button and give me a little thumbs up on your way by. For those of you who keep returning all the time, you know that I love you and I am so grateful for you and for the community that you have helped create here. It's a very fun place to be and I enjoy it immensely. Thank you for joining me again today. So since the last time, there's not really a lot happening. We are gearing up here for the end of the school year, which means that I get a little bit of a break from one of my jobs. I get a break from the school kitchen for a little bit. It means that there is no homework. Yay! Homework's a challenging time for Charlotte and I. So they have stopped this week. They have stopped homeworks and they're they're really running down towards their summer break. So school will finish next Thursday for 2 months. And yeah, that will be another challenge, but we'll face that next Friday. So that's really all. There's not a lot of other life news. One thing I did forget, a big thing I forgot last time when I was talking to you all about our Jubilee holiday celebrations, I forgot entirely to show you pictures of the bunting at school. So you remember, if you've been here for a while, that I was making what felt like miles and miles of bunting for the school's Jubilee celebration dinner. And I have some pictures I wanted to share with you, just so that you can see it in situ. Obviously, there are no pictures of the children because I wouldn't be allowed to share that. But here are a few pictures of our dining room set up for the Jubilee celebration dinner. So you can see the bunting did stretch quite well over the hall. It looked good in place. My colleagues go all out and they are really brilliant at making the room really festive for the children. So there were table decorations, there were pictures of the Queen at different eras of her life. There were pictures all around the wall of the Queen, the P7 class. So here in the UK, just in case you don't know, here in the UK, primary 7 is the last primary school year, and those children will be 11 years old, moving on then next year into secondary schools. So the P7s are the leaving year, and they had made beautiful bunting that they hand drew in their art classes, and it's all up along the top of the wall there, just above the blue painted brick wall. I'm not sure, you won't be able to see the detail of them because I didn't have any pictures, but they were beautiful. One of my colleagues also spray painted a chair silver and put a purple cushion on it and made a selfie spot throne for the children to use that day. And then we also had some food because yes, we're dining hall. The children had an option for dessert of queen cakes or of crown-shaped shortbread for that treat. So it was a wonderful day. I told you that before. I just forgot to show you some pictures, so I thought you might like to see. Something else that I thought some of you might like to see, because I know you have an interest in the royal family and in the Queen and in the Jubilee. And one of the things I thought you might like to see is that this little book was given to all of the school children in the UK. I think it might just be primary school children, I can't quite remember. But Charlotte received her copy. And the premise of this book is that hidden away in Great Granny Joyce's house is a treasure box, and it's spilling over with memories and mementos of a life long lived. So then the little girl in the book, Isabella, she and her great grandmother open the box and they have a little trip down memory lane, and it's all about different things that have happened in the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. It's a beautiful book. Now, this book is way, way beyond Charlotte's capabilities right now, but it is a beautiful book. And I just thought you might like to see. This was one of the things that was done for the children. It's sort of scrapbook in its theme. There are chapters on the coronation and Commonwealth, family and friends, ambitions and achievements, charity works and care, inspiration and innovations during her reign, celebration and commemoration, and then there are some glossaries and lists of where to find out more. It's beautifully illustrated and throughout, really. So there's the grandmother and her, sorry, the great-grandmother and her little great-granddaughter Isabel, and this is a story narrative then that runs the whole way through. So you can see there's a lot of text in here. I'm sorry, I'm not holding this very well. There's the treasure box, and then all sorts of things that she discovers. The book has lovely timelines in it. A little bit about the rulers of the 4 nations of the United Kingdom prior to the royal family and prior to becoming the UK. Lots about the Commonwealth and the countries in that, family and friends, weddings. There's a nice illustration of Buckingham Palace. In Her Majesty's lifetime timeline. Oh, there's a bit about our national anthem, which I am ashamed to say I did not know had 5 verses, but there you go. These are royal supported charities. They really have covered a lot. Now, the book has been kind of controversial in that the Scottish Parliament were unhappy because there wasn't enough of a focus on Scottish history within the book, and it will be contentious here in Northern Ireland as well, because we have a nationalist community and a unionist community, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I think it's beautiful and I think it's a lovely idea. There's a century of innovation, so another sort of innovation timeline. And prime ministers in her reign. So that's the kind of thing. Anyway, I don't want to bore those of you who aren't interested, but I thought you might like to see that the children were all gifted this Platinum Jubilee Celebration Memento book. In the last couple of weeks, I've also received some happy mail. Charlotte and I have been the beneficiaries of a lovely thank you from one of the viewers who won a giveaway. Not necessary to send us thanks, but we're very grateful. So thank you for the thank you. I got a lovely card with a message in it and a lovely skein of Jolly Holly, which I don't have, so that will go in my Fancy Floss stash. And Charlotte was the recipient of some stickers and a mermaid colouring book. So that will be very handy next week when I'm trying to occupy her because there's no school. Thank you very much. On the last video, I showed my Sweet 16 chart. And this is a slightly newer version because I changed my notebook because the other notebook was falling apart and full up. But this is the Sweet 16 chart, which is my chart of whips. And someone asked me a question, which I answered in the comments, but I thought perhaps I haven't explained this on the video, and some of the rest of you might like to know as well. So someone asked, well, you've got this 16 projects, how do you decide what you're going to stitch, when you're going to stitch it? So I am a planner at heart. I am an administrator and an organizer, and I just love to be organized. This is my hobby, so I will plan, but I will allow myself to be very flexible about that plan. So when I am planning, I plan a month out. I have a lovely journal that I was gifted by a friend. It's got my name on it, which I love. And in here, there are monthly layouts. So in advance of the month, I will write down what I think I'm going to stitch on those days. So the very first thing I do when I take my month, let's see, July is currently empty. So I've got this lovely blank month, and the first thing I'll do is make sure that I block out any days that I know I'm not going to be able to stitch. I do try to stitch something every day. I live in optimistic hope that when I get Charlotte down to bed, I will be able to stitch for a couple of hours in the evening if I don't have to work, and maybe a few extra hours over the weekend. But if there's some reason that I know already that I won't get to stitch, then I make sure that I don't program something in on that day. So once I know then which days I'm going to stitch, then I will have a look at my Sweet 16 and decide what I'm going to stitch. I usually start with my sals. So if there are sals like Heartfelt, and I was doing the Gentle Rain. So if I'm in a sal, then I will start with those and I will plug in roughly what I expect. So I know, for example, La Finestra del Tempo sal, it takes me about 3 nights to stitch one of those little monthly pieces. So I will block 3 nights out to that somewhere in the month. So I've done that first and tried to prioritize that. If I have some gift stitching to do, then I will plug that in as well and make sure that I'm going to meet the deadline, the birthday, or whatever it happens to be. And then after that, I really just plug in whatever I fancy. So in a way, I then just prioritize the things that have dates to work to. And then after that, I can just work with whatever I feel like working with. So July, of course, is going to be Jolly July. So really, I'm going to choose the majority of my projects from the Christmas projects that are on this list. And that's how I do it. It's not a big secret. It's not rocket science. It's just trying to plug in where I know I have available time, or where I hope to have available time. Now, I will tell you that it doesn't always work out like this. You'll see right at the top, it says plans, and plans can change. So when it comes to my actual stitching, then I use the diary pages and I record what I've actually stitched on those days. I just like this as a memento. It's my kind of book of days, if you like. And so that becomes my actual record of stitching, and the monthly layout is just my plans. I'm going to tell you that my June actual stitching bears very little resemblance to the June plans. Over here in the notes column, I will note what I want my daily thread project to be. So it was Love Lives Here for for June. But yeah, I give myself the grace that, just change things. If I'm not feeling the project that's in the box for today, there's no point struggling through that. This is a hobby. I'm not trying to make money out of this. I don't have to have it finished by the weekend because 4 people are going to buy it from my Etsy shop. So, this is for me, for my mental health and my pleasure. So you'll see this week I am supposed to be working on the Oh Holy Night Advent calendar. That didn't happen. So I am flexible about the plans. Some months it goes exactly to plan, and most months there's a little change. June was particularly big on changes, but I can explain some of that in a moment. So that is the answer to the question of how do I decide what I'm going to stitch from my list. So there are lots of different ways you can do it, and I've done it differently in the past. In the past, I had a list of the days of the week. So on a Monday and a Tuesday, I stitched my sals. On a Wednesday, I stitched something else. On a Thursday, I stitched something. So there are different ways, and I play with different ways to mix it up. And also just if something hasn't worked or my projects have changed, I don't maybe have as many sals or whatever it is. So If it's your hobby and you just want to love it, but you want a little bit of planning to help you keep motivated and progress, then make the plan, but don't tie yourself entirely to it and don't beat yourself up for not fulfilling your plan. It's okay to flex, especially when it's not your job. I'm just going to take a little minute here at this point in the video to share the love again, which is to tell you about other floss tubers. And I'm using share the love because of Stitchalonka, who suggested that shout out sounded quite aggressive. And I like share the love too. So today's share the love is one cross stitcher that I mention quite frequently and one new floss tuber. So the new floss tuber that I have caught this last couple of weeks is called Bridjin, and she is called the Museum Stitcher. So you'll find her here on YouTube as the Museum Stitcher. Bridjin does indeed work in a museum, which is why she's called the Museum Stitcher, and in her work she has the honour of working on preservation of quilts and needlework. So I think that will be fantastic. Anyway, I'm just a little bit jealous of Bridjin's work. But Bridjin is young and enthusiastic and she loves her projects. And I don't know about you, but I love to listen to people who love their projects. You know, we don't want to listen to someone who says, oh, here's this and isn't it terrible and I don't like this and I don't like that. I mean, we all point out our flaws, don't get me wrong, but we still love what we do. So when someone loves what they're doing, that enthusiasm is contagious. So I advise you to go and watch Bridjin and be infected. Enjoy her project. She has, I think, 3 videos out now. She has Flosstube 1 and 2 and an extra, which is her kitted projects. So it's really nice to go and watch her, catch up and get to know her. So go along and let her know that I sent you. The other person I want to mention again is XrossStitch. So that is Chris XrossStitch here on YouTube. And aside from having the best YouTube theme tune in the universe, I absolutely love it. It cheers me up when I hear it. So apart from that, I wanted to just let you know, in case you don't already know, that Chris has a segment on his channel called The Neighbour's Corner. And this is a very generous gift to you from Chris, whereby you can submit to him your pictures of your stitching and Chris will do a little chat about your stitching on The Neighbour's Corner. It's a way for engagement in his community, especially from those who do not have their own Instagram or Flosstube channels. So maybe you have no interest in ever having your own Flosstube channel, but you've stitched that project or you've stitched this project and you would like to share it, but you have no means, you don't have your own social media channels. Chris is opening his channel to allow you a spot in The Neighbour's Corner to present your work to the community. So if you are interested in that, go along and watch, especially his last video where he has he doesn't have a Neighbour's Corner every video, but quite frequently. And he posts those stitching pictures in the order that he receives them. So I think he's got quite a few. And if you were to send him a picture tomorrow, it might be a few weeks or months before you will actually see your picture on his Neighbour's Corner, but that's just because he's doing them in groups and he has a number to get through. But I think it's a wonderfully generous way for Chris to encourage your engagement and to give you an opportunity to participate and share your work when maybe you don't have your own channel. So go check Chris out if that interests you at all. So I think I have prattled on for long enough. It is time to show you some stitching. So this last couple of weeks I do have some finishes. I've been quite motivated to get some things done. I needed to make space on my Sweet 16 board for some new starts. So you'll see I've got 2 blank squares. One will be for my Jolly July new start and the other I'm hoping to hold that space blank so that I will start the Fracture Love sampler in August. So I made some progress and finished Love Lives Here. This is my first fully finish for this video. Yeah, I have one more. This is by Cottage Needleworks. It's called Love Lives Here. I stitched this on a 32 count Belfast linen in Winter Moon. And I used the DMC alternatives that were listed on the pattern, except for the red. The red was 321 called for, or suggested alternative, but I used 326. So I love it. I think it's very cute. I love the little fences and the birds and the trees. I adore those. You can see that I have mounted this stitch. I laced it onto mount board, and then I've mounted that onto a piece of plaid fabric. This is one of the Laurie Holt fabrics. Can't remember which range, but this is on a sticky board, and then it is mounted on top of this board. I feel a little bit nervous about this. I'm not sure if it's too fussy. Anyway, it's glued on there, so it's not going anywhere in a hurry. This is a board from the range here in the UK. I will insert a picture of what it looked like before. It says something on like Happy Home underneath where I've mounted the stitch. And it's kind of got texture and wood, and I really liked it actually. Just now that it's done, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it'll grow on. Maybe it will grow on me. But if you are interested in the board, I think it was $4.99. It certainly wasn't much more than that, if any more than that at all. Pretty sure it was $4.99 when I took the sticker off it last week. I bought it just shortly after Christmas, but when I was in after Easter, they still had some, so you might be able to still find it if that's of interest to you. So that is Love Lives Here by Cottage Needleworks. I'm glad to have that one finished. I had started it last June and went great gusto, and then just kind of, you know, it fell by the wayside as other things became more interesting. Or equally interesting, but I just worked on the other things. Anyway, I'm blabbering now. So my second fully finished piece is for a colleague who is resigning from the school kitchen, and I'm very sorry to see her go. But she's a coffee lover, so I found this little chart by Tiny Modernist. Cold coffee is always a good idea. It's a freebie chart, so I will link that below for anyone who's interested. It's stitched up really pretty on this piece of fabric, which I had dyed pink and tan. It's hard to see the variegation in it, mainly because it's so small, but it does work really well with these nice coffee colours of the flosses. I used the called for flosses, except for one, I think. Oh yes, I didn't have one of the grey shades in the spoon, and I didn't have the grey shade that was called for outlining with backstitch, but those were easy just to find some substitutions from my stash, and they are DMCs. I mounted it on a piece of fabric backed sticky board. This is a Laurie Holt fabric, and a little piece of crochet lace and a button from my button jar. So the addition of this was really just to help adjust the measurements and make everything look a little bit better, because if you imagine if I just centered this in the frame, there would have been a much larger top and bottom border than the sides. So sometimes adding a little doodad underneath can help to fill the space of a frame that's not exactly the right shape or custom sized for you. So this was a frame from B&M, which is a home store here. And it's a pink, blush pink colour, and it works beautifully with the fabric. So I'm really pleased with this little gift, and I hope that my colleague will enjoy it and know how much she's going to be missed. I have a couple of other finishes, and they're not fully finished, but they are finishes. And the first one is the Gentle Rain, yay! Totally motivated by finishes by Joanita and Sarah, who are part of the Sal, Instagram Sal for this, and also Caroline, although Caroline finished hers a long time ago. I really wanted to get on and finish this. I had slowed down a little bit when I was doing this bird bath, which I know I kept referring to as a fountain, but is actually a bird bath. But when I finally got it done, then I was able to see progress as I worked through the tree with its critters. So let me show you how it looks. Ready? Ta-da! This is the blue flowers, the Gentle Rain. And I'm so happy with how it turned out. This is another peony pink dyed fabric. It's a 32 count Murano that I dyed myself. You can see that it's kind of got a cloudy look to it, cloudy mottling. I used the DMC, I used the suggested threads, a lot of which were DMC. A couple of the overdyes that were suggested I didn't choose because there were so few places where they were used and it was hard to get them. So there was crushed pineapple, for example, which is this paler yellow colour, and I just substituted a pale yellow DMC for it. So there's no variegation there, but they're only small areas. I don't think that it suffers greatly for that. I love the critters. I love the squirrel. I love the mallard, as you know, and I love the heron as well. I am really chuffed to be finished with this. And oh yes, sorry, I meant to tell you that I had also changed the variegated floss that is in all the swirls and the raindrops. I used DMC variegated floss 4020 instead of frosted sage, which at the time I started this I couldn't get. So I switched this one in. It's a much stronger variegation than in the original chart. You can see it's much more subtle. But I think that the rest of the colour in the chart holds it well. I don't think it dominates or anything like that. So I'm really happy with that substitution. And I'm really happy to have this one finished. So thank you, Joanita, for joining me in this, leading this Sal. It's been lots of fun to stitch along with you, and thank you to those of you like Sarah and Caroline and others who have joined the Sal on Instagram. It's been really wonderful just to have some company stitching along on the same pattern. Next is a finish of a start that I never showed you. So that sounds a bit funny, but you'll be surprised when you see this. I am surprised because, as you know, or well, you may know, I don't stitch Halloween. But here is Beulah. Beulah is by Chrissy at Finally a Farm Girl. I will link this pattern below if you are interested in Beulah. I did adapt the pattern, so let me show you what it should look like. So Beulah is in her potion room with the window open and the cat on the window and some lotions and potion bottles up there on the window. I decided not to stitch the window, and all I did was extended the bubbles that emanate from the cauldron, extended them up a little bit. I just put in a few more to raise it. I don't know if I should raise it a bit more, but I think I'm just calling it quits. So this was fun to stitch. I don't celebrate Halloween. I don't decorate for Halloween. That's why I don't. So this one is actually a gift and has been a kind of a secret stitch just in case I didn't actually do it. So I I used most of the called for flosses, but here and there I did something different because it's not a very big pattern. I didn't want to buy an entire skein of some of the over-dyeds for just small amounts. So for example, the over-dyed that is down here for the floor area, I didn't purchase. I actually just did a blend of a purple DMC and a charcoal kind of coloured DMC, and it works fine. And I'm happy with my pumpkins, and she's very cute even though I don't do Halloween stitching. Beulah is stitched on a 32 count Murano in Vintage Country Mocha. Vintage Country Mocha is a colour I don't understand. So when I see lots of you post your pictures of Vintage Country Mocha stitches, they don't appear this dark to me. The fabric does not appear this dark. Now, I think maybe the Murano takes a dye differently from linen, I'm not sure. But this looks a lot darker than the samplers and things that you stitch, so I'm not sure if I'm buying the right thing. But anyway, it worked nicely for this this piece, and she stitched up really cute. So thank you, Chrissy, for a beautiful pattern, and I hope that my gift recipient will enjoy it in due course. I need to find a way to finish it. I have an idea in my head, but I don't think I'm going to be able to execute that idea. So I need to come up with a more possible alternative. So I'll be thinking about that for a little while yet, I'm sure. So that is Beulah's Brew by Finally a Farm Girl, and that's on Etsy. Next, in my whips, I finally got through the border that was causing me so much drama on My Necessity by Heartstring Samplery. So it's not a lot of progress to show you since the last time, except that it is actually finished. This one was a headache. And I have started the second one just with the remains of the floss that was left from that border. So this, well, actually the last one, I mean second, was second after that. But anyway, so this will be the final border down here, and I will get to that at some point. How that's meant to look, and I will get to that hopefully maybe in August, after Jolly July stitching. I will pick that one back up and finish it. So it's looking good, it's almost there. Yeah. My next little bit of progress is on Hive Rules by Primrose Cottage Stitches. This was a gift from one of my lovely viewers, and I haven't done very much, but I've enjoyed what I have done. So I finished the very top section. Let's see if I can show you together. Finished the very top section, and I've started the little bee in the next section. So I have this one pinned to my board because there's a huge amount of fabric all rolled up there. That's Hive Rules. I love the little blue wings. They're not white, and that's nice. It's a cute stitch. It's a very satisfying stitch. So if you're thinking of this pattern, I would hardly recommend it. I've seen lots of people buy it and stitch it in parts. So rather than having one very long piece, they have been able to split it into 4, 5, maybe 6 pieces. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think you could stitch this in 6 separate pieces as well, and they're all beautiful on their own. So that's my little bit of progress, which I've enjoyed immensely. And then I also had progress on a whip that I didn't show you yet. This is Alice in Wonderland by Oil Forest Embroidery, and I am stitching it. Ooh, look how wrinkled it is, sorry. I'm stitching it on aqua There, that colour is much better looking there. This colour is so hard to photograph. Every photograph I take, it just looks like kind of washed out grey, but it's actually quite a strong aqua. So this is a 32 count, or 36. Actually, it's 35. It's Edinburgh. That's why I got it. It's one of the pre-packaged. This is the full fat quarter, and I know I'm probably going to struggle with the borders. They're not going to be as wide as I would like, but anyway, it's a big stitch, that's why. But I will just stitch it and make do when it comes the time. So you can see I center started, which is what the red grid line threads are, were to help me find my center. And I've cut them back a little bit as I've worked from the center, but I kept them in place just to help me with positioning of some other parts of the charts as we go along. So I started with the Queen of Hearts and her flamingo croquet mallet. And this little grey fuzzy blob here is a hedgehog. Yeah, that's what he's supposed to be, is a hedgehog. And then I have started on the arbors that surround her in the center of the chart. I should show you the chart, of course. This was and is still available as a free chart. It was a free stitch along. It's not a great printout, but you can see how detailed this is. And if you are an Alice in Wonderland fan, you've probably already aware of this because it was a sale quite some time ago. I'm stitching this with a friend in this kind of a little private mini sale. The two of us are just enjoying the stitch, and I don't think either of us have got terribly far yet, but we're just going to enjoy it together. And the charting is beautiful, and I am not using the Isle Forest threads. I am using a conversion of my own to sulkies. So I've told you before that I love sulky 12 weight and I wanted to stitch more with it. So here are my choices for the sulky conversions on the listed threads. I hope that they'll all work. I'm happy so far. I know I haven't stitched very much, but I am happy so far with how they look, and they stitch beautifully on the 35 count. I'll show you again. The stitching is coming up really nicely. Let me see if I can get it a bit closer for you. So there's good full coverage, and you're only having to use one strand, so that's lovely. There you have Alice in Wonderland. And that is the end of my whips for this last couple of weeks. I'm really happy with the progress. I have a couple of finishes in there, and yeah, it feels good to finish some things and open avenues for new things coming along without being overwhelmed. So I'm enjoying that. Of course, Jolly July is coming up, so it is time to start thinking about my plans for that. And when I am working in July, I won't really stitch very much other than Christmas. The Heartfelt Sal from the Fat Quarter Shop is due its last release, I think. Or its last stitching release. I think there are 2 more releases. I think one is the last part of stitching, and then there's a finishing release, which I'm not going to worry about at this stage. But the last stitching release is going to be on Friday, the 1st of July. So I would like to be able to work that into my Christmas stitching in July somehow, just allow enough time just to keep up with that, because it'd be really nice to finish it on time. No big deal if it's not, but it would be nice to finish it on time. So I think that will be my only non-Christmas stitching in July, I think. Very cleverly, when I started the sal for La Finestra del Tempo, which are the time windows, the calendar months, I started that in August, and I did know then that making that start in August would bring me all the way around to stitching December in July, if I kept up, of course. And I have managed to do that. So I have one more month to stitch for La Finestra del Tempo, and it is December, so happily coincides with plans for Jolly July. And you can see there's a lovely Christmas tree house and a teddy bear, Christmas pudding, gingerbread man, candy cane. I mean, what's not to love? All of that detail in such a little stitch. Marola is just genius. I love it, and I'm looking forward to stitching it because it's so cute, but I'm also looking forward, although I'll be quite sad in a way, but I'm looking forward to it being the final piece of my set of 12 months. So that is one of my whips that I am continuing and bringing into Jolly July plans. I have currently on my my whip board, my Sweet 16 whip board, I currently have 5 Christmas projects on here, and I'm going to bring 4 of them into next month and allow myself one new start. So I'm hoping for some more dedicated time, so not just 2 days in the month on the project, but maybe 4 or 5 days to help just push them on a bit and just to enjoy the Christmas stitching and that kind of camaraderie of those folks who stitch Christmas in July or sign up for the Fat Quarter Shop's Jolly July. So one of the other whips that I'm going to focus on again is the Dimensions kit Oh Holy Night. This is my oldest whip from 2006. Eek. But I'm going to keep going. What I would like to do with this in July is finish the little hanging decorations which are on the plastic canvas. So here we go. You can see I have a thread here because I'm halfway around back stitching that top one. Anyway, I have one more of the little decorations to stitch, and I think there are 15 of them that require back stitching. So if I could finish this one and finish all of the back stitching on the ornament pieces, that would be great. And then I would also like to be able to complete the grid, the number grid that you hang the little ornaments on, and the corner hollies and this wording down here. So it's currently on the frame, and without unrolling it, you can see that I've got 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 on there. I've started the grid for the next row, and then it'll come right down to here. There's some border stitching and like outline stitching on there as well. So I'd really like to have all of that completed in July, if that's not too tall a task. I'm not sure whether I will be able to do that or not, but it would be great if that were all done. And then that would leave me, it would leave me a lot of stitching, but it would leave me this outer starry border and then the main manger scene to do, which yeah, is a lot of stitching. But it would just be nice to have those pieces parcelled off and finished. So that is my plan for Oh Holy Night. And then I also have in my current whips, I have Glitter Village, another Country Cottage Needleworks. I finished the first cottage and I got the border at the top of the second cottage done, so I would really like to be able to finish the second cottage in July. It's a plan, we'll see how it goes. I have a Dimensions kit on the go called A Kiss for Snowman, and sorry for the glare, but all I have managed to do on him so far is his face and the beginning of his hat brim. So it would be really nice perhaps to be able to finish his hat and then maybe even start the little girl's face. We'll see, it's a lot of stitching and counting. I enjoy it, I just need to pick it up, that's all. So I'm hoping Jolly July gives me that opportunity to pick up Kiss for Snowman. And those are my 4 current whips. So La Finestra, December month, Kiss for Snowman, Glitter Village, and Oh Holy Night, Advent. And then I want to have a new Christmas start in July. If I could, it would be lovely to have it started and finished, but that's probably asking too much. So, but with that in mind, I didn't want to choose a really big Christmas start. I do have many, many beautiful Christmas stitches. I have some kitted up, and I went through the kitted up ones because I didn't want to kit up something else. I just want to use what I have kitted up. And then I also knew I really would like it to be one of the Stitching with the Housewife pieces. So I had 3 of their Christmas pieces. I have Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Silent Night, and Gingerbread Cookies. Really thought I'd like to do Silent Night, but when I looked at the chart, it's quite big, and I'm not ready to take on another biggish one at this time. Now, my version of big is maybe different from your version of big. They're not that big. Mine are not that big, but I know, I just know that I wanted to stitch something a little bit smaller. So that has brought me, I've got gingerbread cookies in this bag, and I have got a Jolly Housewives bag. If you can see it, Jolly Housewives bag, and I have got Santa Claus is Coming to Town in it, and I don't know which one to stitch, so you're going to help me decide. So, which one should I do? Should I do gingerbread cookies, or should I do Santa Claus is Coming to Town? I am going to let you have the final decision on that. So please, in the comments, tell me which one you think I should stitch. I'll show you them close up again one more time. Gingerbread cookies and Santa Claus is Coming to Town. I don't have a preference because I love them both, so I'll be very happy whatever the outcome is. It will just mean that I didn't have to decide it. So in the comments below, let me know which one I should stitch, gingerbread or Santa. And on the 30th of June, I will keep a running tally of your votes from the comments. And on the 30th of June, whichever is the winner is the one that goes into my July plans for my Christmas new start in Jolly July. So that's fun. There's no reason for this other than just to encourage you to participate and let you have some agency in the decision, and it will be great. So thank you in advance for prompting me and making my choice for me. I know that I am not the only one who is stitching for Jolly July. Last time I asked if any of you were, and lots of you told me that you were stitching. You're starting gift stitching, you're starting ornament stitching, you're picking up your whips. So everybody who is planning to stitch Christmas in July is already well on the way to thinking that out, and I hope that you have a great time with your stitching once July comes. I look forward to sharing my progress with you in the next few videos. So, before I go, I have some share winners to announce. Last time we had 5 shared charts, excuse me for reaching. So we had 5 shared charts courtesy of Terry, and I have chosen some winners with the YouTube random comment picker, and these are who the charts are going to. So the first chart is Garden Birds of Australia. The keyword for this was birds, and the winner is Norette Herzog. Well done, Norette. The Alphonse Maria Mucha La Trappistine chart is going to Trudebeth. So congratulations, Trudebeth. I hope that you will enjoy this chart. Serenity is heading to Daniela Draxan. Daniela, congratulations, and congratulations on all of the other wins that I have heard your name mentioned so many times in the last number of weeks on various Flosstubes. So it really is time for you to purchase a lottery ticket, because you are a super lucky person just at the moment. And I have sent you a win before, Daniela, so it's lovely that you've won again. So I hope you will enjoy stitching Serenity. The needlework and knit shop is going to the Wee Stitcher D. There you go. So congratulations, D, I'm assuming your name is. Congratulations, D. And the black lace sampler chart, which I love, 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 is going to Tammy in Israel. And Tammy, thank you so much for telling me your name because I wouldn't have been able to read the Hebrew. But thank you and congratulations. So all of you, so Norette, Trudabeth, Daniela, Dee and Tammy, if you can contact me, either on the email that's listed below in the show notes, or via Instagram. I'm SewMeSarah on Instagram. You send me a private message there and give me your mailing address. I will get your chart in the post to you in the next week or so. And I am so delighted that these are going to regular viewers who watch, who I know to be stitchers. So it's great that these are going to people who want them and want to share them and want to stitch them. Right. Thank you again, Terry, for sharing these charts for me to pass on and share with other needleworkers. So congratulations to everyone. I hope that you enjoy them. In closing today, I wanted to invite you to ask me some questions, if you have any. I know that sometimes I don't always fully explain things, a little bit like I didn't explain how I choose from my Sweet 16 board. And maybe you have questions in your head about things that I talk about from time to time. I kind of assume that everyone is more experienced and knows more than me, and therefore if I say something, I assume perhaps that you know what I'm talking about, and sometimes I know I don't stop to explain fully. So if there are things like that that you would like to know and they've been whizzing around in your head, please put them in to a comment below and just say they're for the Q&A session, and I will try to compile those questions and maybe have a little Q&A segment at some time in August or September. I am happy to answer whatever questions you have, mostly, so please be gentle with me. I don't mind if you have some personal questions, you want to ask something about my personal life, or there's not a lot exciting to tell you, so you're not going to dredge up many secrets. But if there's something else that you'd like to know, maybe about Northern Ireland or whatever, I will do my best to be able to answer something about me or my family, or I don't know what you would possibly want to know, because I don't think it's that interesting. But if there is anything that you think that you would like to ask me in a Q&A session, then please just add in the comments below and just say it's a wee question for the Q&A, and then I won't answer it in the reply. I will hold it for a video in the future. There may be no questions, and that's also totally fine. I want to thank you for continuing to engage with me through this channel. It is a lot of fun always. I get really blessed by it. I get blessed by the connections that I would not have in real life. In my day-to-day life. This is real life. It's just a virtual connection. But I am very grateful for that, and I hope that it continues for a long time to come. So, yeah, set your curiosity and ask the questions you've always wanted to ask, if there are any at all. If not, that's also not a problem. Don't forget to vote for Santa Claus or for the gingerbread cookies. And I will see you next time. And in the meantime, I hope that you stay well and stitch happy. Bye, folks.